objective B, we're going to write fractions in order, so we want to know which one's less or which one's greater. So one way to do it. Some of you are just kind of logical. 5/6, that's almost a whole, correct? 5/6, that's almost a whole cookie cake. What's 11/20? Is that almost a whole?
Almost a whole.
It's a little over a half, right? But it's not very full. And so 5/6 is the bigger one, and so we'd have the guy eating that. And you're like, well, I can't just look at fractions and know that. Well, what we can do is we can just convert them to an LCD in equivalent fractions and compare numerators. So 6 breaks up to what? 2 and 3. And then 20 breaks up to 2 and 10, which breaks up to 2 and 5. So in LCD, guys, we need a 2 and 3. And we need 2 2s. Well, we have 1, right? So we'll just add another 2. And then we need a 5. Does that look okay? That looks like 25. So here's my 6. And then the 2 2s and a 5 is my 20. What does that multiply to be? 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60. I was going to ask Darren because he's our 12 timetable guy. Okay. This is another one where you might have done the multiple rule. Can 6 go into 20? No. Can 6 go into 40? No. Can 6 go into 30? Or 60? Yeah, I mean, you can just keep doing that. So anyway, we're going to convert these to 60s. And we're going to act like we're adding them or act like we're subtracting them, but we're really not. We're just going to compare the tops, right? Who has more slices left? So this 5/6, guys, what did we do to the 6 to get to 60? Multiplied by what? 10. So what are we going to multiply the top by? 10. So we now have 50 slices left. What did we multiply 20 by to get to 60? 3. Don't worry about the 0, right? What do you multiply 2 by to get to 6? 3. So if we multiply the bottom by 3, we're going to multiply the top by 3, and you get 33. Now that they're cut into the same slices, if you had one cookie cake that had 50 of 60 slices left, and the other one had 33, which one has more? The 50. So make sure the Pac-Man eats the bigger guy. Guys, I'm going to, bless you. Looking at 20 and 5, do we need to do all those crazy things to find the LCD? No, let's do the multiple method. Does 20 go into 20? Does 5 go into 20? Yes, so guess what our LCD is? 20, okay? Because 5 goes in. I'm not even going to do that one method, okay? So we're going to convert each of these to 20. They're both negative. Kind of keep that in mind because that will kind of change what's going on. All right, that first fraction, do we need to change the top at all?
No.
Nope, so he's going to stay at negative 17. That second fraction, though, what did we do to 5 to get to 20?
4.
Multiplied by 4. So what are we going to multiply the top by? 4. And you'll get 16. Okay. So keep in mind, these are both negative, right? So think debt. Which debt is better? You got it. So is it better to be $17 in debt or $16 in debt? 16. So guess what? We're going to eat this guy. At that point, I feel like it's just kind of mimicking what we did at the end of 4.4. Now that you know how to add and subtract unlike denominators, they're going to give you a couple where you just plug in, and then they'll give you a couple word problems, okay? So it's just mimicking what we did at the end of 4.4. So here they want us to do x minus y, so they want us to do 5 minus 11, or excuse me, 5 11ths minus 4 9ths. All right, looking at this, guys, does 11 break up any? No. 9 breaks up any, till 3 and 3, but that doesn't really help us, right? Do you guys agree that they don't share any common factors? So if they don't share any common factors, the LCD is just the multiple of the 2. So what is 11 times 9? 99. So our LCD would need 11, and we need a 3 times a 3, right? We would need 11, and we would need a 3 times a 3. Well, that's just 99. That's 11 times 9. All right. What did we do to 11 to get to 99? multiplied by 9. So if I multiply the bottom by 9, what am I going to multiply the top by? 9. What's 5 times 9? 45. Yay! What did I multiply 9 by to get to 99? It's kind of like that one that Stacy pointed out when we had 7 and 10. We're kind of like almost cross-multiplying, right? We're going to multiply, we multiply 9 by 11, right? So we're going to multiply him by 11. What do we end up with? 44. And again, we don't need to rewrite this because we can take away 45 minus 44. What's 45 minus 44? 1. So what's our answer? 1 over 99. We don't have much cookie cake left there, guys. That's when I get sad. All right, hang in there. Probably like 5 more minutes and we'll be done, I promise. These are probably the 2 worst sections. I mean, I know that your teacher shouldn't say that, but it is. You got to kind of fight through it, all right?
At least you're honest about
I am. I don't want to butter or anything up. This is true. These are tough. But what you struggled with in chapter 2, you guys are nailing now. So, you know, it's just going to be building and you'll get more confident. Let's look at what's happening in example 10. To repair her sidewalk, a homeowner must pour cement in 3 different locations. She needs 3/5 of a cubic yard in one spot, 3/10 of a cubic yard in the other, and 1/15 of a cubic yard for the other location. What's the total amount of cement the homeowner needs? So the total amount means we're going to do what, guys? Add. So we're going to take 3/5 plus 3/10 plus 1/15. On this one, if you're okay with it, I'm going to do the multiple method. Who's the biggest denominator? 15. What are multiples of 15? 15. Can 5 go into 15? Yeah, but can 10 go into 15? No. What's the other multiple of 15? 30. Can 5 go into 30? Can 10 go into 30? Yes. So what's our LCD? 30. So when there's smaller numbers that look like they might kind of go into each other, I like the multiple method. When they're larger numbers that are kind of odd and we're not as comfortable with, that's when I do the LCD. You are the tree. You can do either. You can always do one, always do the other, or switch it up like I do. So we have 30, 30, and 30 cubic yards now. And I write it right below it so you can see where it matches up. I write it right below it so you can see where it matches up. What did we do to 5 to get to 30? Times 6. So guess what I got to do to 3? Times 6. What did we do to 10 to get to 30? Times 3. So I'm going to times it by 3 and get 9. What did we do to 15 to get to 30? Times 2. So I'll get 2 there. And again, the whole idea, guys, is we haven't changed the amount of cement we need. We've just changed it so they look alike so we can actually do the addition, okay? So 5, 10, and 15 all go into 30. So I made all the denominator 30 and just asked myself, what did I do to 5 to get to 30? I multiplied by 6, so I need to make sure I multiply the 3 by 6 to get 18. What did I multiply the 10 by to get to 30? I multiplied it by 3. So I got to make sure I multiply the top by it to get 9. What do I multiply 15 by? 2. So I multiply it. And at that point, you just kind of add straight across. So what's our denominator? 30. Remember, you don't ever have to add the denominators or anything like that. The denominator is the denominator. And then what's 18 plus 9 plus 2? 29. And I like the 18 and 2. I pair those up to get 20. And then what's more? 29. And then what's our unit? Cubic yards. So she basically should buy a full bag to get 1 full cubic yard, right? She almost has a full cubic yard there. 29 over 30 is almost a full cubic yard. This one I feel like is pretty common, like hint, hint, I think you see it on your homework on my math lab. Find the difference in length of 2 boards if one is 3/4 of a foot and the other is 2/3 of a foot. Subtract. Anytime you're comparing, you're going to subtract, okay? So we're going to take 3/4 minus 2/3. And let's do the multiple method again to kind of practice that, okay? When you do the multiple method, you start with the larger denominator. What's the larger denominator? 4. Does 3 go into 4? No. What's the other multiple of 4? 8. Does 3 go into 8? Nope. What's the other multiple of 4? 12. Does 3 go into 12? Yep. So 12 is your answer there. So what does that mean? It means in order to take 3/4 minus 2/3, we're going to cut them into 12ths. And we got to make sure whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So what did we do to the bottom to get from 4 to 12? Times 3. So what do I have to do to the top? Times 3, and you get 9. What did I do to 3 to get to 12? Times 4. So that's 8. And again, we should be able to do this math. Since it's a real life problem, you shouldn't get a negative, okay? What's 9 minus 8? 1/12 of a foot. Does anybody know what that is? That's an inch. Right? 1/12 of a foot. How many inches are in a foot? 12. So 1/12 of a foot is just 1 inch difference in the boards.